Welcome to my video. This video was inspired by Paul Walker, which I downloaded from the gallery, and he looked really good. I was very impressed. So I wanted to make him like a house. And I started thinking about what kind of house he would have, and I started like developing a character for him. So I decided to do a trailer to do kind of like a reverse story of Fast and Furious. So instead of starting out as like a cop and then turning into a thief, it's like he lives in this dumpy trailer and is a thief and then slowly tries to like turn his life around. So the goal of this trailer was to look very trashy and like really cluttered and yeah, kind of like not a place you'd want to be. And I think I got that effect. It's definitely cluttered. I was kind of inspired by the trailers for My Name is Earl. They're very like redneck and like old appliances and stuff, which I was really trying to do. And for the stairs, I was trying to put down green carpet on the stairs because I don't know if you've ever seen, but like sometimes people have carpet on their stairs and entry on their porch. And it's really horrible because like when it rains, it gets all moldy and stuff. And there's no covering, so it would just be nasty. And I kind of like the nastiness of that. I couldn't get the green to work, so I ended up using red, but red carpet I think would be horrible too. And I was looking online at trailers. I thought I knew what trailers look like, but apparently I didn't, because I thought trailers had flat roofs and were pretty much just a box. But they actually have regular roofs with regular roof tiles and a few features like bay windows and things. And there's some really nice ones. My grandparents live in like a modular home park, kind of like a trailer park, and there's a super nice, but I didn't want this to be one of the nice ones. I wanted this to be kind of like a junky trailer that it's like from a trailer park, but the trailer park in your neighborhood you want to drive by and not really go inside because it looks kind of sketchy. Anyway, that was the goal for this. And you can see I'm changing the roof before I decided to just go with regular tiles. And I was trying to find the most blasé doors and windows I could find. Just kind of depressing ones, and I really think that door is depressing. It really fit what I wanted. It was really fun to make this because I kind of just went crazy. And I put in so much clutter in the house when I tried to play it. My sim couldn't actually get certain places. I thought that might happen as I was making it because I started putting piles of laundry everywhere, and I was hoping that Sims could just walk on the laundry, you know, like you do in real life. But they can't. That is like considered like something to block their path. So I had to go back through and delete a lot of the piles of laundry from all around the house, which is pretty sad because I thought they added a nice touch. Like I imagine the people living here would just kind of have to like search through piles of what to wear that day. And then when they were done, I'd go back in the pile. So right here I was trying to get this bay window detail to work, but I thought it looked a little funny, so I decided to push the roof back and then make another little roof on top. But it looked a little more decent. And at this point I was really liking how it was coming out. It was looking very trailery to me. Very stereotypically trailer. But I kind of liked that. So more about Paul's backstory. So what I'm thinking is like he was a thief, obviously, and you'll notice in the apartment there's a lot of stolen stuff and like blueprints and other things for like robbing stuff. There's the ATM in there from I think like the burglar career. And I thought maybe Paul had just gotten out of prison or something to that effect, and he decided to like change his life around because he realized this wasn't going to work. But the only place he could live was with his old buddy, his old like robbing buddy, and that was in this trailer. So his buddy was like, "Yeah, I've got a spare bedroom," but it turns out the spare bedroom was really just like a little closet that Paul got shoved into. So I made it so the whole house is a disaster except that little closet. It's like nice and neat and organized, but everything else is horrible. So I imagine he kind of just like sneaks into his room and tries to hide because he doesn't really want to be there. And I like to think that sometimes the friend will like guilt Paul into doing some heist, like, hey man, I'm letting you stay with me. I could really use your help with this. And he doesn't want to steal anymore, but he also feels guilty, so sometimes he does. But he's trying his hardest to get away from that lifestyle. And so I was just trying to figure out the interior, and I was like, this is huge. I can fit 2 bedrooms and a huge bathroom. So I started working on that and playing around with the layout. Later on, I realized that it wasn't as big as I thought, and I needed more room if I wanted to make a kitchen and a family room, which I did. So I ended up moving some stuff around. And I like to think that this trailer had 2 previous owners that you can still see evidence from. And kind of like, I don't know what happened to the owners, but they left some of their stuff behind, or you can still see traces of them. And the first person took pretty good care of the trailer, probably when it was new, but they were really girly. So there's like pink carpet and nice like rosy wallpaper in the bedroom that I imagine they put in and no one ever bothered to take it out again. And the next guy was a big fisher. He was kind of dumpy, he kind of ran down the place, but he was a big fisher, so he left a bunch of his fishing plaques, his mounted fish behind, and so they're scattered all around the house. No one bothered to take them down. They just kind of add to the ambiance. And then here I was just trying to find the most generic appliances. I was hoping to find some olive green appliances because that just screams like that's been sitting there for a while to me. Like growing up, we had an olive green washer or dryer, and it just looks so retro and kind of ghetto to me. I really wanted that for in here, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I was trying to put a lot of clutter in here. I noticed with a lot of builds, even if you put quite a bit of stuff in, it never actually looks cluttered. So I went a little overboard, and it's kind of like a hoarder lives here, which kind of he does because the roommate doesn't ever clean up or do anything, so his stuff is everywhere. So I was trying to find random stuff to put on that cabinet, and there'll be stuff that isn't kitchen stuff. It's just like a pile of CDs, some pencils, just stuff that might have been put down on the cabinet once and just never got picked back up again. And I put the little Easter eggs on there. A lot of the stuff gets deleted as I have to move the kitchen around, but they were on there originally, and I put a lot of weird stuff around that I thought maybe they had stolen, like kind of like from Ocean's 12, is it? Where they steal like that Fabergé egg and it's worth a lot of money. So these little Easter eggs kind of reminded me of, so I thought they might be valuable. And yeah, I was just trying to put stuff on the fridge. I kind of wanted to leave no surface untouched, but I realized I had to leave a little bit untouched. And like I said, stuff got removed as I moved the kitchen around, so I kind of had to like change where I was going with everything. Once again, with the olive green, I just think it is nice. It really gives off that nice retro ghetto look. In this context, anyway. I'm sure other times it's just pleasant, but I didn't want it to look pleasant. So this is when I was realizing that I wasn't really going to fit a family room in there and a kitchen, so I decided to just put 1 bedroom in. And that's kind of when I decided that, Paul isn't going to have a room, or at least not a very big one, and kind of helped the evolution of my story. Clearly I think about it a lot as I'm doing it, because I don't know. I just think of Sims as a little more real than they are. And it's more entertaining when you have like a nice backstory. You can like do more with the character. But anyway, yeah. Everything is just going a little amok with the kitchen right now, but I eventually figure it out. And I do, like I said, have to go in and put stuff back on again. And it might not be the same as before, but I was just ready to get some more junk back on those counters. And you'll notice with the TV, I ended up having two really junky TVs. I thought about putting like a super nice flat screen in there, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but at some people's houses, they might not have a lot of money and might not have very nice stuff, but they will have a nice TV and a nice car because that's what's important to them. I thought about doing that, but then I decided, no, I don't think I don't think they would even have that, or they would want to sell it to get money, or like pawn it off. So they just have two crappy little TVs. Like maybe they're ones that someone else left behind, and they're just kind of like, these work, and they have to like put tinfoil on the rabbit ears to get it to work, and yeah. So I was looking around for a nice tile, and I found this linoleum, which is amazing. That linoleum looks so beautifully horrible. I was really happy with that. I really feel like it adds that extra little oomph to this build. So I started putting that in. I would like to think it's linoleum, but like the kind of linoleum that's sort of sticky and never gets all the way clean. That's what I was going for. Like you try to mop it, but nothing works. I had linoleum like that before, and it was just horrible. Not that you could tell with this linoleum because it kind of lends itself to getting very dirty and no one would ever care. You couldn't see it. I started putting in different curtains, and then I decided the blinds would be a good choice. I usually don't like using them because it's very depressing looking to me. But then I realized they had blinds that were partially open. But I thought that would be good so that when they're doing like their kind of like deviant things like planning heists or, I don't know, sorting through all the stuff they just stole, they could close the blinds and have some privacy. And I wanted all the furniture to be like mismatched. Like there's some crates and like a dodgy little lamp, and the TV sitting on another crate. Just kind of like, well, they just made do with what they could find. And I really like the idea of having multiple TVs. I feel like that happens a lot. You're not quite sure why, but there's just several of them. One might not work, but no one's bothered to throw it away. So this is when I just started like cluttering it up. I put an art table in there. Now I think that would probably be like one of the only things Paul actually has in the family room, and I decided he wants to be an artist. Maybe he discovered like his love of drawing in prison or something. I'm not quite sure, but that's maybe what he wants to do for his career if he can ever like get into something else. Yeah, I tried to put stuff around in the room that was like I said before, like it had been stolen, like a bag of money and those plants, and this siding, that wood siding, is just horrible. I loved it. It just looks like it could hold diseases. And here's the pile of clothes that I'm just sticking everywhere. And some books. I just didn't want it to look too clean, obviously. Like if I didn't know what to do, I just put another pile of clothes down. Because I guess in my house, when it gets dirty, it's mostly clothes on the floor, so I figured that's probably what would happen here. And who knows what dalliances are going on in this room, so clothes could be flying anyway. I don't know. And there's the fish, the mounted fish that was left by the previous owner. Oh, that was a little flash of my other screen. Yeah, I was just going through and trying to find anything I could. Just to kind of give this room a little more depth. And I ended up finding, I don't know what they are, they're called debug, but they look like this little pile of rubble, which I really like because I was trying to find like crumbs or something equivalent to put on the ground, so I used those a lot. to be like someone dropped their sandwich on the ground or their crumbs and no one bothered sweeping it up. No one can be bothered to do that. And I did put them all down, but I later had to take them all out because they actually block the thing they're in front of, which I think is kind of sad because they're just tiny little things. Tiny little rocks. I don't see how that would really block you, but it did. And those envelopes, I thought someone like tried to kind of put the envelopes on the counter, but it fell off and they were like, couldn't be bothered. And I put like rare gems and things just kind of hanging around, like they hadn't gotten around to pawning them off yet. And the trash can's just sitting in the middle of the family room because at some point it got moved and the spot where it was got filled with some other junk. So they're like, this is open. So now I had to start putting different stuff on the fridge because the other stuff got deleted when I put the floor in. So I put in these fabulous little gnomes that add a certain something something. And I was really pleased. Even though I put this stuff on the couch, my sim can still like sleep on it and sit on it. It's probably not super comfortable, but they can do it. I was glad of that, so I didn't have to move it. Because really, who has like a super messy apartment and doesn't have anything on the couches? I just feel like that doesn't happen. You can see all those little piles of rubbles. I was just trying to make it look like someone had made a lot of food and hadn't bothered to do anything about it. And there's like nice typewriters and things. And they don't necessarily take very good care of the stuff they steal. Like, maybe they half-heartedly try to because they know that's their means of income, but not really. If they forget about something, they don't worry about it. And then I decided to make this kind of like, the yard be kind of like a graveyard for things that don't work anymore. Because I've noticed that a lot when I drive by kind of sketchy trailer parks. There'll be like furniture and extra cars just sitting out on the lawn. So I really wanted to do that. I do a lot more of that later, but now I'm working on the bedrooms. And that little red bedroom in the back, that is where Paul's little tiny room is going to be. But he has to share a bathroom with his roommate. And pretty much a bedroom, because the only way you can get to his bedroom is through his roommate's bedroom. And I imagine that, like, at various times people will be sleeping on the couch, or the roommate has a girlfriend who's pretty much moved in, so all her stuff is everywhere and just kind of adds to the whole clutter. I did get my olive green sink in, though. I was very happy about that. Right there in the bathroom. It was really hard to put stuff on the walls, though, because it was very cramped and I couldn't really see what I was doing. There go more piles of laundry that later had to be moved, but I really wanted piles of laundry in the bathroom because that's where you take off your clothes to like get in the shower, and you just throw them in the ground, and they probably never picked them up. So I thought that would be like the most appropriate place to have clothes, but I had to end up deleting all of them. I had to make their place cleaner, which was a trial in my life. It was pretty hard. My life's hard. So I didn't know a lot of this stuff existed. Like the little ATM was fabulous. Like who knew there was a stolen ATM? Obviously I had to like unlock some objects or put in a few cheats to get to it, but I was super happy when I found it. And there's just like a frog cage in the bedroom. Probably the frogs in it are dead, but again, no one's bothered. Someone thought a frog was cute at one point and put it in the bedroom, and it's just sort of stayed there. And then Paul's room, I thought maybe like the original owner who liked the pink girly stuff maybe had a little kid and put him in the room where Paul is, so it has like kid wallpaper on it. And then there's just all sorts of random stuff in the bedroom. There's like wine, there's balloons from a party like maybe 2 years ago, and I imagine the balloons are like deflated and wrinkly, but they're just still chilling there. And I tried to put graffiti on all the walls. Yeah, like right there. Like maybe this house sat vacant vacant, like in between owners for a little bit, and people would come in and just kind of crash there and tag it up. Um, or maybe even like the owners did that in like a drunken frenzy, decided to like spray paint their house. Who knows? Again with the piles of clothes. It just looks so great. I'm really sad I had to delete them. And when I was deleting them, I didn't always delete them. Sometimes I would just move them onto other piles of clothes. And so like parts of the room that I didn't need to get to ended up just being like mountains of clothes that had just been stuck there. Which, you know, was pretty appropriate. There's the ATM. He put like a treasure chest at the foot of the bed. Just like, that's where his most precious things are. Like the stuff he actually does care about, the roommate, that's where he would keep it. And then I put this like kind of weird little water fountain thing on the dresser. Like, I imagine that the roommate, he needs a name, so I can stop calling him the roommate. Alan, we'll call him Alan. I imagine Alan thinks that he's pretty suave having a fountain in there, and like, he's really romantic and it sets the mood, but no amount of like tiny waterfall could offset what's going on in this room. But I don't think the girlfriend cares. I'm putting in stuff for the girlfriend, like nail polish and perfumes, just kind of stuff she might leave around, and I imagine some of those clothes are hers, but Alan does have wine by the bed, you know. And I do put one of those like wine buckets you get when you have like a really good date. Gabe gives it to you.